artist, you have the paintbrush. The only time you don't have it is when you relinquish the power that you have.
Wow.
And you turn it over to somebody else. Keep the paintbrush
That's
in
good.
your hand.
That's good. That's good.
This is your design. This is your artwork. And at the end of the day, it must yield what you need it to yield. Amen? So I just want to do a little bit of that, and I'm on time with Shayla.
Go ahead now.
Let me tell you something. Don't play with
Go
me.
ahead now.
I'm a timekeeper. This ain't the first time to the rodeo. Okay?
Amen.
So I had the pleasure of traveling with my cousin, Regina Robinson. Regina is a woman of faith and mother to her beautiful daughter, Ashley,
Yes.
who is a current student. She is award-winning international speaker. Surround yourself with the right people. If you want to go abroad,
Come on.
get somebody international, right?
That's right.
She's an author. She's from Jersey.
Yes, she
A
is.
publisher and an inner circle curator. And I'm not going to belabor it anymore. Regina, come on up. She's an undergraduate degree in business from Bowie, right? She got it all going on. She been doing this for how long?
Oh my God, 15 years.
So I'm younger than her.
I know I'm lying.
But I ask her questions, right?
That's what I'm talking about.
This is what you're talking about when you're talking about growth. When we was on our ride down, I said, so what did you do? How did you do this, Danielle? Because this is my first time putting in as a pilot.
Come on.
But she been doing this and going from state to state and international in
love
different countries
I love
for a
it.
while.
Come on.
Surround yourself with the right people. Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid.
Yeah.
So I want to say thank you.
Yes. Right, that's good. Good job, man.
Wow, good morning, good morning, good morning. I don't know about you, but I'm just excited that God gave me a chance to wake up another
Come on.
day.
Amen.
Living life and living legacy for me is just God saying, I'm gonna give you one more chance to take a step.
Right.
I'm gonna give you one more chance to believe in you. I'm gonna give you one more chance to have the courage to proclaim and give my name victory and glory every time you step on stage.
Right.
So as I travel the world sharing, I'm not afraid to proclaim that God is the reason why I can go from state to state
Come on.
and country to country.
Come on.
Because if it had not been for him, I wouldn't have a story. I wouldn't have a message that I needed to share. But I give him glory for allowing me to just be that vessel, to be that Esther that will be loud and glorified, even when everybody else is not willing to speak up.
Come on.
So I believe that our legacy is within us, but when it says my title was for my section, The Unstoppable You.
Yes.
You are the author of your story.
Yes.
Only you can tell the world who you are, what you believe, and what you proclaim.
Come on.
And so when I step on stage, I'm unapologetic about letting the world know I love God. And if it had not been for him, I'm not sure that I would be willing to speak on stages. Because if you had told me 15 years ago I'd be traveling the world, I was just that girl from Asbury Park, New Jersey, who didn't really believe in myself, who didn't always love me, who wasn't always confident about who God says I am. But today I believe and I know who God says I am. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. And so I just want to share with you about what it means to be an unstoppable you. It means you got to be willing to do the work.
Yes.
You can't wait for everyone else to be willing to tell you you great. You want to tell yourself you great.
Come on.
See, because I don't wait for my sisters to celebrate me or my brothers. I celebrate me every time. In fact, when I sit down today, I'm going to say, girl, you did everything God told you to do. Because I believe in me. Because I believe in me. See, all too often the world has shaped us not to believe in ourselves. Because of all the things we've been through. And we can't blame our parents.
That's right.
Right? Because they wanted to give us the best legacy possible. But they only had a certain piece of the legacy.
Come on.
God is saying, now I'm going to give you the world to travel so you can create your pieces of the legacy.
That's right.
That's just like a puzzle. You can't put it together until you have all the pieces.
Well.
And so the pieces are up to you to create. So every day that I'm living, I'm creating pieces. And I'm giving some of those pieces to my daughter so she can create pieces. And then when she had children, she'll be able to give those pieces to them. And then when it's all said and done, we'll be able to sit around, and whether I'm here or not here, my legacy will live on. Because the pieces I've already deposited into her, and what she's going to deposit it into her daughter, and what first and foremost my grandmother, and then my mother, and then all my aunts have deposited in me. So I've been putting those pieces on the puzzle board. And I'm unapologetic about those pieces because I know my grandmother raised almost 15 children on her own. And my mother just had 2 of us. But she raised us on her own. Now I have 1, and I'm raising her on my own. See, the world will tell you if you come from a single-parent household, you can't make it. That's a lie. Not as long as you got the foundation of the Lord and your Savior, you can make it. Because He's given our mothers everything we needed for them to give to us. And so what is your legacy is what you have to ask yourself today. What do you want people to know you as when you leave here? What will they say about you? What would you want them to say about you? They always tell us to write down your story of kind of like your little mission for your life. Have you taken time to write a mission for your life? See, because God has put us here as vessels to do His work in the kingdom. But His kingdom is not inside the church building. Somebody just said the kingdom was in the church building. I'm here to tell you the kingdom is in the church, but it's outside also.
Come on.
We got to be willing to go out and do His work. We got to make sure our legacy is not just here, but it's everywhere that we go. Nat said it, when you walk in the door, what presence have you made? Most of the time, I'll walk in the door and I'll sit down at a table, and then they'll call my name, and everybody at the table will say, oh, I didn't know that was you. You didn't need to know that was me because I don't want you to prejudge before I let God speak. I don't want you to prejudge before God uses me. Because I want you to see Him, not me. I'm just a vessel to deliver what He has already said His purpose in the atmosphere.
That's right.
And so most of the time we walk in and we shelter ourselves. But I learned this probably about 12 years ago. I got invited to an event at a church. And when I got there, the first lady of that church invited me. When I got there, they said, oh, here's where I went and sat kind of far off, right? And they came and got me and tapped me on the shoulder and said, no, first lady wants you to sit at her table. And this is what I said. Oh, are you sure? I'm okay. I can just sit right here. I don't really need to sit over there with all, because there was a bunch of first ladies sitting at that. No, I don't think I'm supposed to be there. Are you sure she want me to sit at that table?
Come on.
Can I tell y'all for a hot second, God said, if you don't get up right now, I'll make you fall out the chair. I said, what? He said, get up and walk over there and keep your head high the whole time you walking. And from that day forward, I had to say, you know what? I'll never diminish where I'm supposed to sit. I will never sit in the back when God has purpose for me to be up front. He says, listen, I'll make the last first. And so I said, okay, God. I went and sat at that table and made major connections, right? And so we are afraid within our own selves. We are lacking confidence and belief within ourselves. What is your story? Why haven't you started writing it? Always say everyone is not going to be a published author. I'm a publisher and an author of multiple books.
Come on.
Everyone is not going to be an author in a book format, but you are all authors in your own life story. And so your story is forever being written. The problem is most of us have put down the pen. We put down the pen because we got all these bumps and bruises. We put down the pen because we failed. You were supposed to fail because that's why you were learning in that failure. The problem is, are we learning when we fail? And then are we taking the lessons we learned and using them so we never fail again on that same issue? A lot of times what we're doing is we're allowing our family and our friends to keep us anchored and drowning. God says, cross the river. Because I got you, I'm on the other side, but most of us won't get in the boat and get on. And then the ones of us who get in the boat, we want to take the whole crew with us in the boat.
Is it true?
And the boat is just drowning. It's just going under. You keep on saying, why is the boat sinking? And God is saying, because you got to release some weight that's on the boat. The boat is too heavy for the water.
Help us, God.
But you were worried about if you release the people off the boat, will you have enough power to keep rowing? God says, I'm already rowing for you. You keep on waiting on everybody else to row, they're going to row you right backwards when I'm way over here waiting in the front. They'll keep you going backwards But God is saying, I'm waiting over here, but I just need you to be willing to trust me. We're not trusting in our power. God has given us the power. He has deposited on us everything we need, and he got a book that will keep us going. But if we don't pick up the book and learn what it says, then we won't be able to go. He says, I go before you and I make a way. We are scared when he has already said, I've gone first. So what possibly can you endure that he has not already prepared you to conquer? But we gotta be willing to trust and believe and have faith in us. We got a lot. How many people got faith? Everybody can put up their hands. We some faith goers. We got a lot of faith. But remember, there's a second part to that scripture. Faith without works, that's the action. That's you being willing to take the step when you don't have all the answers. That's you being willing to say, you know what, if I fall, I'll just get back up. And because remember, when you get back up, you're going to be stronger than you was when you fell. Because you're not starting over, you're starting from where your lessons have taught you from.
Right.
So we got to be willing to move. We got to be willing to do whatever it takes. I know y'all know I'm going to go back to the Bible now. Just remember the woman with the issue of blood. 12 long years. 12 years. How many of you would say I would have kept going through 12 years? See, some of us would have given up at year 3. But see, that's your goals, that's your dreams, that's your purpose. At year 3, you would have given up, and God's saying if they just go to 12, I'm going to release everything at one time. But we give up before we can get to the space that he has purposed for us. At year 12, had she given up, she would have never received her breakthrough. Never received it. See, because it's not in God. Listen, God is always on time.
On time.
We are so busy worried about whether he's going to show up when we want him to show up. He's saying, oh, well, I'm going to keep on waiting while they waiting. I'm going to keep waiting. But see, what happens is he's going to give what he needs to be done in the atmosphere to somebody else when you were supposed to be the one to do it. And he's saying, but see, I had it to be done a different way if she would just took up the faith and had done what I asked her to do. See, 12 years ago, that lady with the issue of blood, she was willing to do whatever it takes. See, that's where we go wrong. We ain't willing to do whatever it takes. She was willing to do whatever it takes. She got down on her knees to a crowd of people. A crowd of people. See how great is your faith? A crowd of people. She couldn't even see God, but she knew who to touch. And she knew it was only going to take one touch. Some of you are one touch away from your greatness. One touch. And if you would just keep the faith, no matter how many years it is, if you would just keep the faith. Natalie said international speaker. I wasn't always an international speaker. Had I thought year 1 and 2, when God blessed me to become a speaker, that I never even dreamed of being an international speaker. I never had a desire to travel the world. Never. But can I tell you, God will dream bigger for you than you can ever dream for yourself. See, I was that girl from Asbury Park. That was my biggest dream. Just as long as I get out of Asbury Park. As long as I could get from Stephen Manners to what I thought was the palace. Listen, I was good. But God says, oh no, why you just dreaming that, girl? I'm dreaming bigger. I'm in South Africa waiting for you to arrive. I'm in New Delhi, India waiting for you to get here. I'm in state to state for you to travel and deliver my message. Can I tell you, when I first started speaking, people used to say to me, girl, you better stop saying something about God every time you get on stage, because people going to stop inviting you. I said, that's all right, sis. God already got doors for me open. So if they can't understand me being willing to say that God gets the glory first, I don't even need their stage. Because guess what? What I'm going to deliver won't be the message they can receive or take in. So it's okay that they don't invite me in, because I only want to go where God has purpose for my feet to land. So I'm okay with not going everywhere. Because when you realize everywhere ain't for you, you'll only go where God has invited you, because then they won't tolerate you, they'll celebrate you. Stop going where people only tolerate you and they don't celebrate you. Get in the rooms, that's right, Bishop, get in the room where they don't celebrate you. Because they're going to celebrate the God that they see in you. And be willing to say, you know what can I do to just get a little bit of that? That's all I desire, is a little bit of that. But I had to believe in me. I had to say, you know what? I don't care what everybody else believes or thinks. God, what saith you?
What saith you?
What saith you? I told her when people used to say that, I said, please, I done been to churches and shut down churches because God said that's where I want you to be.
Yes.
That's where I want you to share the word to women. That's where I want you to go and deliver my message. See, I did to tell one woman, I said, girl, please, you gonna miss it, because I'm like Esther, when nobody else wants to shout it out from the rooftop, I'm gonna shout out how good God has been. Because when you've been down low, and you've been broken, and you've been bruised and battered, and you don't know how you're gonna get up on your own, I promise you, God gonna stop by, tap you on the shoulder, and say, rise, my daughter, rise, because I got you. I got your back. See, because I told her, you don't know my story.
That's right.
You don't know what I've been through. Because see, people like to judge you from what they can see.
Yes.
Now, see, we show up and we got the makeup on and we look pretty, because I do now. Come on now. But listen, underneath all of that, you got to get to really being able to wear that on the outside. See, we operate from the outside, but God says, I want to touch what's on the inside. So 8 years ago, I literally had to say, God created me a clean heart. Because I was that woman in the room, in my bedroom, with the blackout curtains. Come on, sisters. How many of y'all got them? Them blackout curtains that you keep closed. The blinds that you don't open often. Because you believe if it's dark enough, you can hide everything you're feeling on the inside. But God stopped by and said, I'm light. I come through everything. I come through everything. It ain't nothing that you got on the inside that I haven't already gave you what you need to work out. Just like that woman at the well, I thank God he stopped by to see about me. 8 years ago in my room, I was crying. I was depressed, I was unhappy, and I was deteriorating my legacy. And my legacy was my daughter. I would cry in my pillow, I would cry in the shower, and I would get down on my knees crying because I was just that unhappy. I was okay if I didn't go from day to day. If I didn't wake up, I was going to be okay with that. But was that God's legacy for me? No. Absolutely not. So one day I got up and I just said, God, I'm tired. Yes. I'm overwhelmed. I'm tired of feeling like I'm feeling, God. I just want to give it all over to you. Can I tell you, sisters, have that ugly cry. Yes. Have that brothers too, have that ugly cry. Nose running, eyes you can't even see, you can't catch your breath. Because when you release it all, God will deposit on the inside everything you stand in need of. 8 years ago, that cry gave me the victory to stand before you today and give God the glory. Because I was willing to let it all go. And I didn't look back. And I tell you, there's days where I still got to remind myself, girl, get up and tell yourself. How my girl Mary J say, good morning, gorgeous. Because ladies, we don't tell ourselves enough that we are beautiful. And the world will tell us, sisters, my black African-American sisters, that we're not good enough. But can I tell you, we are more than enough. We are greater than they say we are. We are more blessed than they believe we are. And we have more power than they understand that we have. And so when you start operating, sisters, in your power, and we get together, we start collaborating instead of competing with one another, we will shift this world and turn it upside down. But we gotta be willing to stand together. We gotta be willing to create legacy together. Nat said it is in who you are connected with. Sisters, who's in your circle? Brothers, who's in your circle? Because some of the people you have had riding with you have got to go. Why? Because this greater season, they can't handle who God is about to create in you. And if you start depending on them to be encouraging to you, you're going to miss out on everything you're supposed to be doing. So stop waiting and connecting with people. Stop holding on to friends because you feel obligated. You better be obligated to God. Because if you miss his assignment for you, he's going to pass it to somebody else. And I don't know about you, I don't want to get to the pearly gates on my assigned day. And I want him to say, girl, You done did the thing. Well done, my faithful servant. And it was never, can I tell you, it ain't about me. Because I just want to see other women learn how to be unstoppable. Because I know what it's like to be broken. But my goal is to travel the world and make sure women know how to go from being broken to unbreakable. Because when you get in that space, listen, there is nothing. Once you discover who God says you are and then you believe it, it is nothing you can't do. We are not believing who God has said that we are. He has given us, ladies, the blueprint. Stop trying to figure it out. I wrote my journal outlining 30 women from the Bible. When I wrote that journal and God sent me on that discovery, it was the greatest breakthrough for me. Because I said, God, as women, we really think we're going through something new. We really think that we can't get past what we going through. But if you take time to study those women, they have given us the armor for us to strap up and take this world by storm. But we gotta be willing to do it, right? I said, like the woman with the issue of blood. Then I said, like the woman at the well. Come on now, had I known that God would just meet me in my bedroom, it would have been way before 8 years ago. And I could just let all of it out. We ain't got to hide because he already know what we've done. He already know what we've experienced. He already know what's going to happen later that we're not even aware of. 8 years ago, I had no idea that he had later for me to be in that dark bedroom crying on my knees. Didn't want my daughter to hear. And then within those 8 years past that I would have traveled to New Delhi, India to speak to women who don't even look like me. And then I would have went from India to South Africa for a room of women who didn't necessarily love or believe themselves, not because they didn't want to, because they was forced not to. Culture. So our legacy and our culture says that we are supposed to be underneath, but can I tell you, God has positioned us on top. But we will not take our rightful spot, and instead we keep standing on the sidelines, trying to watch everybody else doing what they do and thinking that we can't do those things. I stopped by to remind everybody today, you can do whatever you desire to do, as long as you are willing to believe in yourself and do it. You have the power to create a new legacy. Don't trip off of what you already did and start penalizing yourself for what you haven't accomplished. Shake it off, put on your new armor, and start doing what you know you are supposed to do from this day forward. You got an opportunity to walk in a new greatness. You got an opportunity to stand in a new light and allow God to work on the inside of you. I'm a strong believer. How many of you used to play double dutch when you were younger? Ladies, how many of you love double dutch? How many of you were the turners? Any turners in the building? All right, let me get 2 turners up here. 2 turners, one on this side, one on this side. 2 people willing to turn. Now, who was my jumper? Always wanted to be in there jumping, right? I was that person. I didn't never want to turn. Okay, so Nat gonna turn on this side. I never wanted to turn, never. But I was always the one on the side complaining, talking about, ooh, y'all not turning right? I would always say, ooh, y'all not turning right. Come on, the rope is collapsing. That's some of you on your dreams. The rope is steady turning, and you waiting for it to be perfect. The rope is turning, but you're waiting for it to be the perfect turn. Okay. How many of you waiting on the perfect turn? You can be honest, waiting on the perfect turn. Like, God, I just want you to, soon as they stop collapsing, I'ma just jump in. But that's you waiting to jump in on the business you've been telling everybody you wanted to start. So you standing there like, oh, I'm gonna start the business. As soon as everything get perfect, it ain't never gonna be perfect. You better start that business. Some of you like, I wanna write a story, I wanna write a book. But you're like, I don't even know who's gonna read the book. I never knew who was gonna read my book, but it's in different countries now, all around the world. And I was scared nobody was gonna read it. God says, please, I'm gonna put that in countries around the world. I'm gonna make that book take you around the world. Just write the book. Some of you are like, well, I don't even know how I'm gonna pay all my bills this month. You better stand in faith and keep getting ready. God will work it out. He ain't never not worked it out before, has he? Right? And so they getting tired, their arms probably getting tired. Like, that's you. You getting tired because you're waiting for things to be perfect. You getting tired because you're waiting for it to all align correctly. No. And because some of you are waiting because you're scared. You're like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to jump in. I'm scared it's not going to work out. I'm scared. Like, oh, I just don't know. Y'all keep turning, but I'm scared. Like, y'all like, come on. Say, come on. Like, y'all like, come on and come on. Let's go. First lady, come join me on that side. Because see, here's where you miss it. Some of you are scared to jump in, and you're waiting and you're bouncing. But if you just connect with another sister, or you connect with somebody who got your back, y'all can jump in together. You ready, First Lady? Let's go on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Woo! Yeah, see, so you willing to jump, and you got another sister who's gonna kick your back. She got your back. She got your back. And you waiting, but you got another sister who gonna protect you and cover you. She gonna cover you, right? So if you mess up, she gonna be right there to keep going. So if you mess up, you got her to protect you. You got her to cover you. You got her to pray for you. You got her to love on you when it don't go right. But most of you are trying to jump on your own, and you don't have the right intentions to make the jump. Thank you, ladies. All too often, we gotta see life in real examples for us to get it. While you are waiting and bouncing, you look good. Now, I looked good bouncing in, but wasn't nothing happening.
Come on.
Life wasn't changing, and I wasn't changing nobody else's life. But see, my jump and First Lady's jump is connected to Trina's jump, Carmen's jump, Natalie's jump.
Yes.
Everybody else is connected to you being willing to say yes. To you being willing to believe in you. Had I not got up off that floor crying 8 years ago, the hundreds of women that I have encountered within these years would still be the same possibly.
My God.
And are you willing to have that on your shoulders?
My God.
Are you willing to carry somebody else's legacy, but because you won't operate in your legacy, they can't get to their promise? See, I don't want my daughter envying the world and the women out there gyrating, and I ain't got nothing against them, that's on them. But I want her to love and honor a woman of God who's going to show her that when you walk boldly, knowing that God got you covered. See, that's who I want her to become. That's the woman I want her to strive to be. And that is a woman who is fearfully and wonderfully made. That is a woman who knows that she is blessed beyond measure, and that God will make you the head and not the tail.
Yes.
I want her to understand that there's a blueprint already written for her, but she has to first be willing to continue writing her story. Because your story is not about you. Everything I've been through and have journeyed through and have made it to the other side was for another woman to find courage not in me, but in the steps that I was willing to take, and then to see that I got over on the other side. They have courage now to say, I know I can get on the other side. But it's going to take them being willing to do the work. It's going to take you being willing to continue writing your story. It's going to take you being willing to walk in rooms that you know you weren't invited in, but you know you belong there. Right? It's going to take you to be willing to sit at the head of the table and not at the back of the room. It's going to take you being willing to speak up when they say there's a job promotion available, but as women, we all too often believe we don't have the experience to take that position. But if you ask a man, he'll say, I'll figure it out on the way. I'm going to put my application in because I want them to consider me for the job. But if you as a woman will put in your application, the job already got your name on it, but you missed out on collecting because you wasn't willing to submit. Hit the submit button, sister. Whether it's on your play, Carmen, to travel the world, whether it's on a new building for a church, First Lady and Bishop, whether it's on your job or promotion, whatever it is, God says be willing to believe it and declare it. And we not talking about all that prosperity, throwing this and you won't get back that. God says no. Pressed down, shaken together. What you give is what you'll get back. What are you giving in your journey and in your legacy? See, like Nat said, all too often, we want to keep on withdrawing from other people, but we're not making no deposit.
Come on.
You can't go to the ATM machine and get money out of your account if there's no money in there for you to receive. And so when you keep on coming to the church and you asking, but you're not even there serving on the usher board or the parking lot ministry or whatever it is, but you want reciprocity, but you would not give any deposits. God says you want to enter in and give to the storehouse, okay? And that's your life. Who's in your life that you have not given to, but you want from them? And then you act like it's their fault.
Oh my God. Huh?
You act like your breakthrough is their fault. You are where you are because you are not putting your faith to work.
My God.
You are not doing your part. Now, I can stand before you and I can coach you all day, but if you don't put in the work, your business will remain the same. And listen, had I known 8 years ago that all I had to do was be willing to put in some more extra work to become a six-figure business, I would have did that 8 years ago. But I thank God he told me, girl, this is what you got to do, because we don't want to just be average. We want to be above average. We want you to represent what the kingdom truly is, and that is for us to be blessed, right? And so we got to be willing to do what it takes to be blessed. So I put in the hard work to be blessed. Ladies, I put in the sweat and tears to share my story because I believe it's what's going to be useful for you to get courage to take that step.
That's right.
Right? And then I leave you today with believing this. When you take the step, don't just take one, but take a second one. Don't just take two, but make sure you put the third step. And then when you take those steps, and then when you look over, and then you're afraid, keep taking steps. You don't have to have all the answers, but you do have to have the courage to take the first step. Because in every step, God's going to give you a little bit more courage. He's going to give you a little bit more confidence. He's going to give you a little bit more boldness. Ladies, he's going to make you be disruptors. He's going to give you the confidence to say, listen, what I don't know, my sister friend got the information.
Come on.
Because I'm connecting and collaborating with her, I know between the two of us, we unstoppable.
Yeah.
See, when Nat said, gee, I'm going to Jersey, I said, girl, me too. Because that's where I'm from. And when I can go back home and let them know, listen, I thought I was only that girl from Asbury Park, but look at this girl today from Maryland. I stand bold, I stand tall, I stand confident, because I believe in who I am. I know who God has purposed for me to be, and I am determined to be unstoppable. I am determined that whatever God has for me is for me. And can't nobody take it unless I give it to them. And I promise you, I'm not going to give my blessings or my gifts to you. What I'm giving to you today is overflow. Because God has already filled up my cup. And everything in my cup belongs to me. But everything that's overflowing, I'm going to give to you. Because that's what God has purposed and called for me to do. So I honor you and I thank you for allowing me to share just how great my God is. Just how good he has been to me. And just how great I know he can be for you. So keep living your life. Keep building your legacy. And watch God show up and show out on your behalf. Not just for you, but for your grandchildren, your children, and your children's children's children. Because it's a legacy. What are you doing to create a legacy that will live on beyond your days? Because when you do that, you know it is not about you, but it is about what God has in store for those who will come before and after you. Get a group of people around you who will love you, who will support you, who will bless and pray for you, who's going to believe in your vision bigger than you believe in your vision, because sometimes you can't see the greatness that God can see. And so he'll give it to you through somebody else. So I hope today I stopped by and gave you a little bit, because I wasn't here to make you comfortable. I wanted you to feel uncomfortable when I get done to sit down, okay? So I hope I stirred up something on the inside. Don't leave it on the inside, but release it to the world so that the world can have what you already have that God has blessed you with. But But remember, your story is not for you. It is so that you can share it with the world so that they know they have an opportunity to be unstoppable. I am Regina, and I thank you for allowing me to be here with you all today.
Good job. Love it. Love it.
Woo!
Yes.
That's a shout.
Yep.
If you're not shouting, you ought to be. You ought to be out your chair and thanking God for who you are.
Come on.
Amen?
Come on. Amen.
All right, so she gave it to you from that perspective.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it to you from the business perspective.
That's all right.
Amen? Because let me tell you something. When you show up, you are you.
Come on.
And